Hello class, my name is Luis Ortiz and today I'm going to be presenting my persuasive speech. Thank you. Who remembers the thrill of racing down the freeway the first year to begin driving? The fear of messing up often quickly fades when it comes to early teenage drivers, especially those that are still in development of a sense of responsibility and maturity. These often results in motor vehicle accidents that can too often and tragically be fatal. Accidents which could have been avoided, whether fatal or non-fatal, are too common here in America, but are left to be out of our own failure to acknowledge the fact that most teenage drivers are just simply not ready to safely handle a responsibility as big as driving. At some point in our lives around the time when we begin driving, we have all been guilty of pressing just a bit too much on the gas pedal for the sake of thrills. Surely I know I have. And I remember many instances in which I have been involved in accidents at a young age, caused by my own or someone else's lack of experience, maturity, or responsibility. However, there are ways that we can prevent and lessen such incidents. Measures can be taken to ensure the safety of our roads, and such measures are sure to contribute to a healthier and safer America. There is a genuine problem in our society. Our young drivers are far too unsafe behind the wheel. They tend to be a hazard to others and to themselves due to the lack of maturity they have while driving. If we want to prevent tragedies and make our roads safer, we must come to our senses and raise the minimum driving age to that of adulthood. For too often do we see news of car wrecks in which a car packed with teenagers is thrown into a whirl due to excessive speed, and it ends up claiming the lives of all the people in that car and often some outside of it too. I remember a news story in the first month of this year from Fox 5, something along the lines of teenagers dead in car crash. I remember it well because I have four little brothers and there were four kids in that car, all of them 16. Two of them survived and two of them died when the driver lost control and hit a tree while speeding. I remember this because of my four little brothers. I couldn't help but think about them, and they're four little brothers that I try to teach to be responsible. And I know that sometimes they say boys will be boys, and teenagers will be teenagers, and they act in their recklessness while they think that nothing bad can happen to me, because what are the chances it could happen to me, right? This teenage mentality, it just this teenage mentality that they're invincible is just a side effect of their immaturity and still yet developing brains. Sadly but certainly, many of these types of incidents could have been avoided. This one certainly could have. It troubles me because I fear that until changes are put into place, I will have to worry and fear that it could happen to my brothers or sisters or nephews or nieces, even my friends of my age, my father or mother even. Because it is not themselves alone that they are endangering these young drivers. These young drivers are in the age group that has the highest fatal crash rate per mile driven out of all these age groups. According to the Highway Laws Data Institute, or HLDI, the rate of fatal crash per mile driven for 16 to 19-year-olds is 3 times higher than that of any other age group above 20. The risk is higher at the ages of 16 and 17. In addition, the HLDI also reports an increase in the amount of drivers that use their seatbelt consistently, directly related to an increase in the age, and also an average increase in passengers wearing their seatbelts, as well, directly related to an increase of age. Which shows gradual development of responsibility and of maturity when it comes to not only driving but also to the idea of being in a car as a passenger, all directly linked into aging. However, if we choose to keep things as they are, as some may object, restricting their ability to transport could cause them hardships and show them they're mistrusted. We will indeed keep destroying their precious lives by not making the best choice for them if we do this. According to California DMV, when it comes to involvement in fatal or injury crashes, the numbers stand at 61,000 for 16-year-olds and decrease significantly to 46,000 individuals for 17-year-olds, and then to 45,000 individuals for 18, 37,000 individuals for 19, and lastly 16,000 individuals for ages above that. This is very direct data that shows us that we are not helping our youth. We're not keeping them safe from themselves. That is a combined amount of 16 and 17-year-olds adding up to 107,000 lives that could have been saved, potentially. So if we know that our teenagers are not safe out in the roads, and that it is rather safer to keep them out of the roads until they come of age, why then are we not doing anything about it? The driving age must be raised to that of adulthood. We need to pass new laws and abolish old regulations that are very clearly harming society. We must pass laws that properly acknowledge the inability of the underage and accurately measure the risk of lack of development needed to operate a motor vehicle. This would ensure that our roads would stay safe and that our families can stick together and prevent unnecessary tragedies from happening. This would also mean that our underage teenagers would rely more often on public transportation and that they would indulge more often in activities such as walking or biking or skateboarding to and from point A to point B, which would benefit and stimulate our economy further and pave the way for a healthier generation. By passing laws that restrict driving to a privilege solely adults have, we are essentially already saving thousands of lives. Reducing the amount of underage drivers would effectively reduce the amount of car accidents and automobile-related deaths. Raising the driving age is the best option we have in order to keep our road and our public safe. Even if it does not show, even if it shows mistrust, it is within reason that there are restrictions on things such as drinking and voting and driving. The HLDI informs that since the 1990s there has been national studies that indicate that strong laws and raising the licensing age successfully reduces rates of fatal crashes and insurance collision claims. Laws that strongly penalize those who disobey the driving age limit are also great discouraging agents to those who might oppose such laws. Raising the driving age would have a much more positive impact than doing otherwise by keeping it as it is. Taking no action is an action in itself. Choosing to strive for much needed change will inevitably lead to choosing not to strive for much needed change will inevitably lead to much more sorrow and catastrophe. Not to mention the financial weight it will have on our society and the emotional damage that inevitably engulfs the people related to those affected. Choosing to make our change will prevent unnecessary deaths, keep families together, and ensure that no matter what or when, your driving experience will always be safer. Not to mention the secondary positive effects it will have on our younger generations. I want to choose a nation that has no more Fox 5 headlines, such as the one that I cannot forget. I don't want to keep being a witness to the terrible and tragic aftermath of accident after accident. I want to choose a nation that cares for its future generations and that cares about the well-being of all its citizens. However, in order to reject such a somber world and to create the safe environment that we and our youth deserve, we must demand change. However, we must speak up to our government, and through our local government, we have to demand this. And then, when we have succeeded, aim to push it farther than the local range. We must strive to change the environment that we're surrounded by. Through petitions, through letters to our local governments and representatives, we must persist until we attain the changes we desire for the best of all of us. However, it is imperative that we do so together. Things have been this way for years because no one has taken action, not a single significant group big enough, but together we can change this, and only together. We must raise the driving age to that of adulthood in order to make our society a safer place for all, one in which we can share smiles with each other and with our loved ones and not shed tears over their casket.